In this video we're going to have a look at how we can easily and quickly add some animations to our website, and we're going to do this through the help of an external style sheet that someone else has written for us. And if you just search online for animate.css, you'll come to this website here, and it's got lots of examples of the different kinds of animations that you can put onto your website, and at the moment we're going to be just focusing on having them when the page loads. You can have them to animate at different points within your website, but that requires some JavaScript, so that's a bit beyond what we're doing at this stage. So you can have a look around and try out all of these different animations, and once you've had a quick look, just click on download animate.css, and that will download a file to your downloads folder, and then you can copy and paste that file into your website folder. So in my website folder I've made a new subfolder called resources, and I'm going to paste this animate file that we downloaded into that. And this is just a CSS file, just like the ones we've been making, except with a lot more complexity to it. And so we're not going to bother going through all of it in detail, but essentially this is what's setting up some classes based on this style sheet that we can then use to animate automatically the content on our page. So I'm going to go back to my HTML, and up the top here where we linked to our own style sheet, I'm going to put in another link, just like before. And this time the href will be into our resources folder and that animate.css that we just downloaded. And I'll close that angular bracket there, and that's all done. That's linked now. So what this means is that we can choose any of the tags on our page and we can apply those animations to it. There's just two things we have to do. First of all, we have to know the name of the animation, which is in fact the class name, and the capitalization of it is really important. So if it's got some capitals, you need to have those correct as well. So I'm going to just start with just pulse here. So that one is nice and simple, and I'm going to pick something that I want to have that animation. So let's say I want to put it on this whole text block here. Inside this class that we'd already defined, we can just put more class names separated by spaces before we close the quotes there. So I want to put in animated, and you have to use this every time you want to use one of these animate.css animations, and then the name of the animation, which was pulse in this case. So now if I go to my live preview, and this is the text section that we have down here. So if I refresh the page, you'll see it has that pulse effect on it. So we could apply that. I'll just cut that out of there because I don't want it to be on there. We could apply it to our H1 heading at the top, for example. Remember, you have to put that into a class. And it's quite straightforward to use for any of the different tags on our web page. You can see we've got the effect there. Okay, so what I actually want to do in this case is I want to put some text on my main viewport window here, just have it down the bottom right saying scroll down for more, because at the moment it's not immediately obvious that you can scroll down to find some more information. So back in my HTML, I'm going to just cut that class name out, and I'm going to go down and find where I want to put this text. So it's in this section here where we had the hero image. At the moment there's nothing in there, but I'm going to put a paragraph in and just say scroll down for more. Now, because this is another HTML tag, I can just simply paste in that class name. And just to recap, it's got animated, which you have to have for all of them, and then the name of the animation that I want specifically. Okay, let's go to our live preview and see what that looks like now. So you can see it's coming up the top here. Now that's because this content that we have in that section is actually a background image, so it's gone right to the top of it. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work to the CSS to make that go down to the bottom right where we want it. So back in my styles, I'm going to make a new rule, and this is to do with the hero image section and the paragraphs within that. And I want the positioning of this one to be absolute. So that means I can position it within that section absolutely, so I can give some values for where I want it to appear within that section. And that section, remember, goes down to the bottom of that image. So if I put in a position bottom of 10, for example, 10 px, you can see now the text is down here. So it's gone down 10 pixels above the bottom of that section that it's in. And I want to put it on the right, and let's say I'll put it 20 pixels in from the right, and let's put it 20 pixels up from the bottom as well. So there you can see it down there. I'm going to make that white. And now if I refresh the page, you can see it's got that little animation effect on it. Now we can also add some, or make some changes to the animations themselves, and to do that we need to give the following class definition in our CSS, and it's a little bit different to what we've been doing in the past. So I'm going to write .animated and then .pulse with no spaces in between everything, in between anything. So we have the two class names that we have in a row, and then we can change some of the properties like animation iteration count, for example, and we can make it infinite. So that means it's going to continue going through that animation forever and ever. We can add some other things. We can change the delay, so there's a little delay before it starts. We can change the duration, so that's how long it goes for. Lots and lots of other things you can do with these animations, but I'm going to keep it nice and simple for now and just have it repeating infinitely. So now you can see over here on the right that it is working as expected, and we have that pulsing effect on that text. Now let's say you wanted to have some text on the main part of the image here. We can use a very similar sort of concept as we did to put this text down the bottom. So I'm going to jump quickly back to my HTML and just look into this section where we have just put that scroll down text, and I'm going to put in an H2 heading, and let's just say welcome to Switzerland. Okay, so just like before, if we look back at our live preview, in this case we can't actually see it. I think it's probably gone in behind that heading that we have up the top. So let's change this, and let's put another rule in our CSS to fix this up. So just like we had the hero p class, we're going to have hero image h2 position absolute, and let's put now the position from the top, and I'm going to specify it in percentage now, so I'm going to specify 30%, and let's put it in from the left, let's say 10%. So now, because these are percentages, it's relative to the size of the window. So if we make this smaller, you can see it gets closer to the header up the top, and so on. So you can experiment with that to see exactly where you want to place that text. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Just like that. Okay, so now that's what we have on our page. Now that's more or less for demonstration purposes, just so you know how you can put some text on your images if you want, and how you can position them using absolute positioning. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to go through once more how to add an animation, this time to this part that we've just added in here, and I've had a look over on animate.css, and I'm going to go for this bounce in left animation. So I need to remember that class name, and then go back to my HTML where I have that h2 tag, and I'm going to put in here class equals animated and bounce in left. And let's just check I got the capitalization of that right. We've got a capital I and a capital L, everything else is lowercase, so that's looking pretty good. Now if I save that and I go back to my live preview, let's just refresh that, and you can see we have that animation, and this one's still going nicely as well. You might want a slight delay on that one before it comes in. So again, just like before, we can go into our CSS, make a new rule, .animated .bounce in left with no spaces, and let's put animation delay, and I'll put 4 seconds just to make it really obvious what's happening, and we'll refresh that page, and after a couple of seconds we should see that animation pop up there. Okay, so that's obviously too long a delay. Your users might be wondering what's going on, but I just did it so you could see what was happening. If we made it a little bit shorter, it would look a lot nicer. Okay, so that's it for animations. Be really careful when you use these on your website. It's easy to make it look tacky if you have too many of them going on at once. But if you have some simple ones, maybe like this little scrolling one here, or even you could just have the main text fade in slightly as the web page loads, they can add a nice little touch to your website.